Oh, yeah. Woo! Cleanest set yet. Let's get to some squats. YouTube, what is up? We are back with another day, and it is Sunday, and we just watched the Vikings absolutely take apart the Cincinnati Bengals. In Carson Wentz, we trust. Super Bowl bound, no doubt, and we're going to take that energy and put it into some snatches today. We are lifting on Sunday this week because we leave for Boston to go visit the girlfriend at Harvard again on Thursday. So we're going to go Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, another banger of 4 days in a row. Condensing the lifts just a little bit more. Going to be pretty shot by Wednesday, but we're going to get after it and we're going to go. We got some snatches, we got some squats, we got a little bit of an upper body pump today, and we're going to start with some jumps. So it should be a pretty sickening day. Let's get after it. All right, so gonna run just a little bit of a fun experiment, not really experiment, just a way to do double broad jumps here. Because my goal is to hit a 20-foot plus double broad jump. We're at 19.4. We got to break through that plateau. I want a 20 plus double broad and a 30 plus triple broad. And we're like a couple inches below both of them. So we're going to build both of these up on Mondays here as we go. Right now, we're going to focus on this double broad. We're going to start with a 25-pound med ball. We're going to run the 25-pound med ball for 2 weeks. Then we're going to go to the 20-pound med ball for 2 weeks. Then a 15-pound med ball for 2 weeks. Then a 10-pound med ball for 2 weeks. And then we're going to go back to our regular double broads. And this is just going to be on Monday. The rest of the days in the week, we're just going to be jumping regularly. So we'll still get touches on unweighted broad jumps, but going to build up these double broad jumps specifically just a little bit and see if we can smash a PR by the end of this. Let's get it. Ooh! Oh, that's a good one. Puts us at like 15.6-ish. 16 foot here would be sick. Ooh! Keep improving. Moved up just a little bit. 15.8. We got one more jump here. Let's send it. Give ourselves a mark, the beat next week. We're looking to improve something. I like sticking with it 2 weeks in a row. I think it's kind of like the perfect measure to keep things creative enough. Week 1, it's always creative. You get used to the hang of things. Week 2, it's fun because you have a mark to beat from week 1. And if you're still getting results 2 weeks in, you can eke it out a little bit into that 3rd week. Typically when it comes to jump variations, especially when it's loaded and we're progressing them, I typically tend to keep it just to 2 weeks, and we'll progress the load for the next week. So it'll be week 1 with the new weight. Week 2, try to beat the record with the new weight. Week 3, we hit a different weight. Week 4, you try to beat the record with the new weight. And you continually progress there. It's just a super easy way to program, and it gets you like 12 weeks of programming jumps, doing the same variation with just enough of a slight tweak on it to keep it interesting and competitive for athletes, right? So let's get our last jump here. Let's go. Ooh! Holy shit, that was a big one. All right, let's get the official measurement here. We got 15.9.5. We'll round up to 15.10 just so next week we have something to beat and we can get 16 feet on these next week. But 15.9.5. Let's get to some super cat jumps. All right, now we got these super cat jumps. Once I fix this jump mat, I'll fix it in maybe a couple months. It's kind of nice not to have it right now, but it'd be sweet to retest on the jump mat after not having it for a couple weeks and be able to hit like a 40-inch vertical on it or just a massive PR on it. So taking that measurement tool away because we don't have a choice because it's pissing me off, and continuing to drive up this vertical stimulus. Let's get it. 5 sets of 3 here. Ooh. Let's get to some snatches. All right, now we got 4 sets of 2 at these high pulls here at 200 pounds, going a little bit heavier than last week, continuing to rip this high pull position. I'm gonna try and stick with that no foot approach just because I like the connection to the bar a little bit better, and we're gonna rip. Let's get it. We caught that mic. That's a good sign. Let's go. Ew. Those were disgusting. We got to dial in for these next 3. I was having a little panic attack there because last week I was like 190 moved for 3, super easy, super light. This is supposed to be 200, and that was super heavy, and like my shoulders don't feel great because we snatched heavy 2 days ago, and we moved Sunday up to Monday, and I was like doing those calculations into my head, and then I look at the bar, and I had 210 pounds on the bar and made a 20-pound jump instead of a 10-pound jump. So that was our issue, and now we have 200 pounds on the bar, and hopefully it's a little bit cleaner. We still have to bring a lot more intent to those reps. Those last 2 reps, I did not have a good intent, and it's sick. We got 210 up for 2. It was really gross too, but now we're gonna get 200 up here at a clean 2, like it's supposed to be on a Monday. Let's go. There we go. So much better when you actually follow the program. Crazy. 3 more sets here. All right, second set here. In the comments for the new subscribers, I still keep getting the question, or being told basically, it's usually not the question, that my belt is on backwards. That is on purpose. I'm not a total dumbass. I do some things like a dumbass and I say some dumbass things. But the belt is a purposeful thing because when I had it turned around, when I was pulling and dropping the cleans and the snatches, I would drop it on the buckle and it hurt like a mother trucker, and I have PTSD from it, so I switched it around and I have yet to hit it. So it's on backwards for a reason. There's a purpose to some of these things. And this one is because I'm soft and don't want to have my, my waist ripped off again. So let's get this second set, let's go. Third set here. Pretty big fan of how the basement is rising on these snatches. The ceiling is going slowly. We haven't really pushed the ceiling a ton. I think the ceiling is going to increase a ton, especially if I were to hit a like max out hang snatch session right now. But the one thing I'm really focused on the last 2 months has been raising that basement to where our doubles are at 200s. Our lower stim days are in the 200s. Like everything is in the 200s instead of at the 150s or the 185s, right? Like our warm-up weights are going up. Our doubles and triples are going up. Our basement is rising. And now we can just show up and hit a good stimulus on the day at 200 pounds instead of 200 pounds having to be a good day to do so. And while that basement rises, it just makes me way more confident in the ceiling rising and like that max potential. But it's just really cool not to have to be at 100% and to be able to do it in a bunch of different variations now. Whereas before I was rising the ceiling so much that my off days were just super trash, and trying to do this for a double would have been at like 185 and it would have been sloppy, and now we're able to get this at 200 for doubles one day after hitting at 225 for a double. So I'm really liking that little nickel and dime process. We're working right now, we're putting in work, and it's pretty fun. And it's gonna pay off dividends once we do start to raise that ceiling again, but spend a little bit of time on this basement, let's get it. Let's go, one more set. All right, fourth and final set here. Gotta give another shout out to 10,000 for these shorts. These are absolute fire, and I need a sponsorship from them because if I was wearing their shorts every single day, that'd be pretty sickening. We gotta find a way to get paid for these videos, you know? We get paid wearing cool shorts, that'd be sickening. That's probably not gonna happen until we snatch 315, so let's make it happen, let's go. Oh yeah. Woo! Cleanest set yet, let's get to some squats. All right, now we got 4 sets of 6 here on these squats. 335 pounds, adding 20 pounds from last week when we hit 4 sets of 8. Kind of like this continual pyramid that we're doing with these squats. And a Q&A this week, somebody asked, post pickup basketball, lifting tips, should I lift after? What's my volume and intensity? How should I plan out my lifts? When it comes to a sport like basketball where you can have games like back to back to back, or like play a game, have one day off, play a game, my goal with those athletes is always to lift as soon after game time as possible. So if you have a game that ends before like midnight and you can get into the gym that day, get into the gym. Hit some isos to feel better. Take care of those knees, hit some leg extension isos, hit some lunge isos, hit some isos for the Achilles, and then get after your lift that day so you can prepare yourself for the next game, because you're not going to have a ton of breaks in between games there. When it's a consistent schedule like football, where it's one game a week, we can plan out our lifts a little bit better, but even there, I'm trying to get a lift in as soon as possible post-game to speed up that recovery process and to keep that stimulus as far away from the next game as possible. So when it comes to football, we'll still do it the day after the game to get that athlete right, feeling good, and then we also can eke in another couple lifts throughout the week, whereas if we wait 2 days, then our schedule gets really condensed, and typically we'll miss out on a lift during the week. So when it comes to lifting in season, when it comes to lifting around your games, try to get it in as soon as post-game as possible. It's gonna make you feel better for the next game, and it's gonna allow you to condense your stimulus in so that you can actually get a lifting schedule in rather than getting behind schedule, and then before you know it, you have a game the day that you're supposed to lift, and everything kind of gets condensed and you kind of lose track of everything. So if you can, lift the day of, post-game, and if you can't, get it in the day after so that we can lengthen the distance from that lift to your next game, and you can speed up that recovery process, right? So let's get this first set. We got 4 sets of 6 here, let's go. Let's go. Second set here, cannot tell you how much better I am at sets of 6 and below that I'm at 6 and above. Those 8s and 10s were messing me up. These 6s feel pretty clean. Let's get it. Oh, let's go. All right, third set here. Let's rip it. Oh, yeah, let's go. All right, final set here, and I was asked a question on my Colorado vlog day 1, Mass Doesn't Move Mass video, talking about some of the bigs and how bigs should move athletically, by John Ward Bile, who said, great stuff as always. If you're training a football team, how would you change the sprint/jump volume for the big boys? I work with high schoolers, and I think all of them need a good dose of athleticism, but also want to be mindful of the fact that they do carry more weight on their bodies than the skill guys. And this is totally right. You do need to adapt, and I've talked about this in other videos, the volume of work and the speed exposure that skills versus big guys versus combo guys have to do in a session. And if you haven't read Cameron Josse's Rethinking Speed Exposure for American Football Players on Simply Faster, like it's one of the best layouts for a team sport, especially American football athlete, but you can take it and expand it to any sport. But one of the best breakdowns of speed and how to train speed, and he breaks it down into like max velo days, small sided days, acceleration based days in a very similar way that I do, but it's just an awesome like breakdown of everything. He has everything charted out there, and like I cannot recommend reading that article enough. I'll link it in the bio here, but it's an absolutely fire read, and again, it just breaks down everything, and you can adapt that obviously. Like if you have a really athletic big versus a really out of shape big, you can change these things, and don't just follow guidelines because it's written on a board. Like actually use the data points that are in front of you. But he breaks it down into session volumes for bigs is 100 to 200 yards, and then weekly volume for bigs is like 400 to 800 yards. And I would definitely say we're probably more on the higher end of this. We just use less of that volume as max speed and more of that volume as small-sided games and acceleration work. And we probably only have like 100 to like 150-ish yards of that 400 to 800 yards be max velo work. So we drop down their max velo work, we increase their acceleration and small-sided game work, and we fill in that time that the skills guys are spending more on max velo work with more combat prep work and athletic stuff that the bigs can do. So maybe it's like a bear crawl battle, some grappling drills, some wrestling drills, and we'll kind of set them up in a skill. So when I was at St. Thomas, we'd have 3 groups. We'd have a bigs group, we'd have a combos group, and we'd have a skills group. We'd have 3 different stations, and in these stations, one station was a max velo station, one station was a small-sided game station, and one station was usually an acceleration station. And for the skill guys, they would cycle through all of those stations with an emphasis on the max velo stuff and longer acceleration work. And when they got to their small-sided games, it would be a little bit longer fields. When it got to the combo guys, it'd be like the middle ground of everything. And when it got to our bigs, we'd do a small amount of max velo work with them. Our acceleration work would be a little bit more force dominant, so we do a little bit more sled work with them, a little bit more partner-resisted sprints or banded sprints. And then our small-sided games really was a lot of grappling and combat control stuff. And that's how we kind of balanced out that volume with it. When I had my 100 athletes at one time and I've had to like set them out into groups, which I'm sure if you're working with high school boys, you have a similar setting where it's just you and maybe a couple other coaches all at one time, and it's not really split up into like perfect groups. So that's kind of how we broke it down, but you do need to adjust based off the bigs and skills. Otherwise the skills are not going to get enough max velo work, or the bigs are going to get too much max velo work. And regardless of that, I just think you can be spending your time a little bit better on things that those specific positions need a little bit more of. And I think it's a cool way just to show the athletes that you care and give them their specialized program, even if it's really not all that different. But you just give them small little tweaks and they feel like they're special and they feel like you wrote a special program up for them, so they actually do the program. And that's one of the biggest gripes you hear from a football athlete is my coach has me doing what the linemen are doing, or the lineman will be like, my lineman has me training like a wide receiver. And like a lot of them, yeah, you probably should be, just because you need to get more athletic and you do need to sprint. And just because you're sprinting doesn't mean you're training like a wide receiver. But to get rid of that ego and just get done what you need to get done without that whole battle that you have to have, you just split them up into groups and give them a little piece of cookie and have them specialize just a little bit. But it's not all that different. We're just changing volumes, changing emphasis a little bit, and having them touch on everything, right? So let's get this 4th set here. Let's go. let's go. Get to some bench and rows. Woo! All right, so after those squats, we got a little bit of an upper body pumper here. 4 sets of 8 incline press, 4 sets of 8 barbell rows. These barbell rows feel like my back's about to explode. These incline presses feel like my chesticles are about to explode. Sticking with this bar because it was set up from Friday's bench press, and because I didn't feel like the dumbbells were heavy enough last week. We only got 85-pound dumbbells, so be able to add a little bit of load here to this incline press. And was asked why I use this bar in the Q&As anyways. And really, the only main benefit is that it's cool and it's a fun bar to press with. You can talk about like the improvements, like if you really are a powerlifter and need to work on stabilizing and becoming a more adaptable athletic bencher, using different bars is money for that. And this bar is one that will force you to stabilize like a motherfucker because it starts to wobble and you gotta squeeze it. So you can talk about the benefits there, but really, the only real reason that I use it is not for any like physiological gain or weak link that I'm working on. It's just that it's a fun bar and it looks fucking sick and it makes me feel like a man. And when you grab bars you're not typically used to bench pressing with, you don't always have to go for a PR, because on days when you're not feeling it, let's say you're doing a barbell bench press, your max barbell bench press is 315 pounds. If you don't hit 315 pounds that day, you feel like a failure and you can overshoot very easily, like pushing for that. Whereas if you grab a different bar that you're not used to, you can still get a really good stimulus in that day. You have no idea what your rep max is with that bar. So it can make training just a little less stressful and a little bit more building, a little bit more work-like, rather than pushing for a PR every single day, right? So we're gonna last set of 8 here, let's rip. Let's go, finish up with some rows and get out of here. All right, then final thing we got today. 4 sets of 8 of these bent over rows. This is our 4th set. These got me feeling like a fucking gorilla here. Single arm rows, let's rip. Woo. Other side here. Lats feeling like it's ripping off the bone. We are gonna be weaponized by the end of this offseason. Let's go. I'm telling you guys now, buy low. Buy low. Let's go. Let's go. That's a good day. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep chopping wood.